Hello, everyone. This is the Global Educator Show. I'm your host, BYKE. Thank you for stopping by. This is a show for educators and parents to come together and talk about how to create a safe environment for our students and children. In honor of Father's Day, I'm here with an episode all about fatherhood. Whether you are a single father, grandfather, a father wannabe, this episode is for you. And I'm your host, BYKE. Thank you for stopping by. Today's special guest is a community builder, podcast host, founder of Dad Edge. He is here today to talk about the importance of fatherhood and all of the ins and outs and all of the complexities. He is a parent and a businessman. In a minute, he'll tell you about what his community stands for and why he started Dad Edge. Thank you for coming on the show, Mr. Larry, and happy Father's Day to you. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is a real treat. And yeah, so I'm, like you said, Larry Hagner. I'm the host and founder of what's called the Dad Edge podcast, the Dad Edge mission and movement. We are here because our the movement is for common men to learn uncommon skills around marriage, parenting, uh, building their wealth and their health, along with proper mindset. And it's common men doing uncommon things. So we get all kinds of training and everywhere else in our life. We go to sometimes a 4-year university for a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or even getting a doctorate. We become masters in what we probably do for a living. But when it comes to relationships, intimacy, and connection and communication with our wives, there really is no school for that, right? And that's one of the things that we do best, that we've been told that we do best over the past decade, is really help men with marriage. We also help men lead their kids and connect with their kids and create environments of psychological safety for their kids. So their kids not only feel connected to their dad, but they feel that they can tell dad just about anything. And there are skills that go along with creating environments like that. And quite frankly, most of us are not taught how to do that. And when it comes to mindset, a lot of men out there are battling 10,000 things a day, in their mind and in their body and in their workplace. Tons of things come at them every single day. And what we tend to do as men is we compartmentalize those things, we internalize those things, and it really has a tremendous impact on our energy and how we show up for our family. So we help men through that journey as well. So basically, at the end of the day, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but we teach men the skills that they can live a fulfilling life in their marriage and with their kids and with actually themselves. We teach them how to lead themselves, lead their marriage, lead their kids. So what we want to do is have generational impact in every single family, because I believe when we change a family, we change a community. When we change a community, we change a city. When we change a city, we change a state. When we change states, we change countries. When we change countries, we change the world. And if you really look at father statistics out there in like fatherless environments, all you have to do is fatherless environment or fatherless homes statistics, and you'll see that the majority of problems, so many problems out there, like 80+% of kids that use drugs come from fatherless homes. 92% of people who are incarcerated come from some sort of fatherless environment or an abuser in the home. Teenage pregnancies above 80% come from a fatherless home. Kids who suffer from anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation come from a fatherless home. So, not to say that moms aren't important, they are tremendously important, uber huge important, right? But so is the dad. So is the dad, and the statistics absolutely prove that. So, what we do is we give those men, the tools, the skills to equip them, so they know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
So that was amazing. When I first heard the intro of your podcast video, I automatically like thought to myself, my friends need to hear this because this is actually a topic that I talk with my friends like all the time. We just like how you said, we go to university, get a business degree, accountants, like you can be the smartest person in the room, you can have the best degree, you can go to the best university, but relationship is really hard. And it's really hard. Like it's so hard when it comes to human interpersonal relationship and even like a relationship like in a romantic relationship. So that's why I've invited you to answer a lot of questions from also like from females perspective that we just sometimes can't get to the men's perspective. So but yeah, but I like your mission, I love your mission, and I hope a lot of more men can join your community and join your mission and follow this path. And I love your mission again. For the next question is that how can you talked about how moms are very, very important, and dads are also equally important. So, what is your advice for like moms and fathers? How can they work together in order to be a good team?
So I think, and I can tell you, I think one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen over the past decade, and I was in this camp too. I mean, I actually started this movement because, quite frankly, I was the one that I felt needed the most help. Like I didn't start this because like I knew everything there's to know about fatherhood and everything that we talk about. It was actually the complete and total opposite. I knew nothing. And I was really tired of not knowing what to do. The way it felt for me, and I describe it like this: fatherhood for me felt, and marriage too. Like in my job, like I had a degree in sports medicine, and I went on to medical device sales. So I was in the OR with surgeons, helping them basically understand our tools so they could do their surgeries more efficiently, effectively, and more proficiently, right? And before me as a sales guy and as a device expert for my surgeons, I had to go through a 3 month training process where I was 3 months every single day, hands on, before they would even let us set foot in front of a surgeon and then set foot in the OR to help a surgeon. And even then, we had experts that were right alongside of us, making sure that we were instructing surgeons what to do. When it came to fatherhood, you walk down the aisle, you say, I do, and you're like, I think I kind of figured it out. People hug you and they say, hey, don't worry, you'll figure it out. It's the best time of your whole life. Right. And then when you become a parent, they're like, oh, it's so great. It's awesome. It's the best time of your whole life. You'll figure it out. And I think when we do that, when we just go about something without learning anything, we need to go take a test in order to have a driver's license. Like, we actually have to have our state over here in the United States actually sign off and say this person knows the rules of the road. They've taken a written test, and they've even taken a test driving with a police officer to say, yes, this person now can have the privilege of driving, right? Because they understand the rules of the road. We do this, like I said, we do the same thing in school. You even need a license in the United States, in most states, to go catch a fish. But you can be anybody and be married and be a parent. And it's like, it's really odd. Like no one hands the keys to a 16-year-old and says, here, son or daughter, go drive the car. You'll figure it out. Best time of your whole life. You've been watching me drive. You understand what to do. Just go do it. We wouldn't even think to do that, but we do that in our marriage. So, back to your question of what we do, it's really, we give men those skills because at the end of a man's life, what we really want is for him. I know this sounds kind of morbid, but it's not meant to be. Most men go to their grave with a tremendous amount of regret. They just don't. They're like, man, I feel like I left a lot on the table, right? I left a lot on the table with my marriage. I left a lot on the table with the connection with my kids, and I wish I would have done things differently. We want a man on his deathbed to be smiling, saying, you know what, it wasn't perfect, but I did the best I could. And going back to your question, what a lot of people do is they put their marriage on the back burner when they have kids. And so like literally think of it as like two frying pans, right? And the frying pans are on the front burner, right? And then when the kids come, the frying pans move to the back burner, and now we've got like the pot of boiling water over here, and we've got this other frying pan there, and we're cooking this here, and everything in the marriage kind of gets pushed away. And that's unfortunate because I truly believe that the marriage is the foundation of the family. If the foundation crumbles, it's just like the house. The whole house is going to crumble. So in our community, we help men feed that marriage first. Now, I'm not saying your kids are not a priority. They are absolutely a priority. It's not like, your kid falls down, breaks his leg, and you're like, hey, sorry, son, me and mom have a date night. We can't really help you out right now. No, nothing like that. But we want to show kids what good looks like when it comes to marriage. And my wife, she carries the identity and the responsibility. I have 4 boys. They're 19, 17, 11, and 9. My wife honestly feels like I need to show these young men what it looks like for a woman to treat a man with appreciation, with respect, and to show him affection, right? And to do those things and to do them very, very well. Because in her mind, she's like, sooner or later, and that this is happening right now. Like these boys are going to have relationships of their own. And if they don't know what good looks like, then we're not really showing them what good looks like. They're going to go out and have perhaps maybe horrific relationships of their own. My job as the husband, as the dad is, son, I want to show you what it looks like to love a woman very, very well, to make her feel very, very seen, right? To point out the things that I most appreciate, and to say those things out loud to her, to make her feel very, very heard. So when we're talking, I'm listening. I'm not fixing her problems or anything like that, but I'm emotionally connecting with her through conversation, right? I'm validating where she's at emotionally, right? I'm connecting with her in a way that I'm her teammate, right? Not necessarily someone who's above giving her advice. And the last thing is to do my best to make my wife feel safe. And that safety button is so huge for so many women. So like for instance, I'm not talking about like, well, a lot of guys are like, well, she feels safe. She knows I'm not going to beat her. That's not necessarily the safety I'm talking about. There's physical safety, there's emotional safety, spiritual safety. There's even financial safety. A woman has to feel financially safe in a relationship in order to feel good about the relationship. I'm not saying that a woman needs a gazillion dollars in the bank, but she needs to know, like, am I married to a man who is willing to do whatever it takes to provide, right? Or is he one of those guys that's just going to sit around and do nothing, which we don't want that. So, I need to show these boys what that looks like as well. And that's exactly what we teach in our community.
That is wonderful. I love every point that you made. And I like how you said, like, the marriage is the foundation, and that you want to show your boys that you want to show how to love a woman. And I like also how you talked about how you want to feel, make your wife feel safe in a lot of, like, in a holistic way, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially that I mentioned. That I mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So my next question is, what are some tips for men who are struggling to create an emotional connection to their wives?
So a lot of us, what we like to do as men. So let's put this in the mindset of a man real quick. So when a man talks to another man, usually, and it's a lot of times it's very surface level. Like, hey man, what's going on? What are our favorite teams doing right now? What's the media look like? How's work? How's life? How are the kids? Good, fine, busy. We answer everything with one word. But when we do open up to good friends, right? And we all have good friends in our life, and I would also argue that we might want to also look at our circle of friends and say, hey, if I'm the smartest guy in this circle, or if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I got to tell you, it's time for you to find a new room, because the high tides will raise all boats, right? And if you're the smartest guy in your circle of friends, or if you're in a circle of friends where you have a vision and a desire to elevate your relationship, but you're around a bunch of guys who talk about their wives in such a way like, she nags me, she's a pain in the rear end, my old lady this and my old lady that, and that doesn't really sit well with you, which in my personal opinion it shouldn't. You need to find a new circle of people to start talking to. But what men do best, I think, is we love to problem solve. I think, and that's one of the I think part of that's part of why the world has gotten to where it's at. I'm not saying women don't have a part in that. Please don't misunderstand me, but that men take a lot of pride in wanting to give advice, share advice, problem solve, and help somebody, because not only does that make them feel useful, but they want to contribute to somebody else's life. They don't want to be selfless. That men are like, they're like rivers. They flow into other bodies of water. They're not a pond. They don't like to hold in information from someone else if they think that they can help them. So men are helpers by nature, right? So when a man goes and talks to another man, he's like, man, like, hey, like me and Jessica are really having a really hard time right now. Like, we're not really connecting. We're not really communicating. We're not really having sex right now. I don't know what the deal is, man. I just don't know what's going on. Immediately what that other man will do is like, dude, okay, like, yeah, man, let's talk about this. Like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Like, what if you tried this? I know with me and so, like, when we were going through that, we did this. So we'll immediately try to help that other man. And the cool thing about that is me, if I'm asking those questions of another man, that's actually what I want. Like, I actually want a guy to be like, give me strategy, give me some ideas, give me some advice. I'm struggling to figure this out on my own. Please help me. That's what a man is saying to another man. The dynamics are different though when it comes to marriage. When our wives talk to us, a lot of men go into that fixer mode, that problem solver mode. because, and here's the thing, it's a beautiful thing. It's meant to be a beautiful thing because men hate to see someone that they love in pain. So what they usually want to do is that they want to give advice to help take away that pain as quickly as possible. It's like, hey, I love you. I care about you. Let me show you how maybe we could solve this, right? We also, here's the other thing too for us as men. Uh, for a lot of us guys out there, me included, big emotions coming our way, like so stress or overwhelm or sadness or whatever, maybe that's coming from our wives or our kids. It's hard for us to take those emotions on sometimes. Sometimes we just don't know what to do with big emotions. We haven't really been taught that. So the easiest way to tamper down someone else's big emotions is to solve the problem so they feel better and we feel better. But what we're really doing, the message that we're really sending sometimes to our kids and especially our wives is we're not listening to you. Like we're almost like, in a way, it feels condescending to a woman. It almost feels like, wait a second. Like, why are you giving me advice? Like, do you not trust that I kind of haven't thought about these things? Because what a woman really wants when she's coming to her man and talking to him about whatever's going on in the day, and it could be something overwhelming or stressful or whatever, or drama with friends or drama at work, is what she's really after is, I just want to connect with you. I just want to talk to you. That's really it. I don't want you to solve anything. And when we go into solver mode, the message it sends to her is a couple things. Number one, I'm not really listening because I'm telling you how to solve this. So I'm not really listening. So I've shut down my listening ears and I'm just thinking about how we solve this. That's how it comes across to them. The other thing is it comes across as mistrust. It's almost like the woman is taking it as like, do you not trust the fact that I can't deal with this myself? I'm not talking to you about this because I want problems solved. I'm talking to you because you're my man and my teammate and my partner and someone I do life with, and I just want to share with you and connect with you. So one of the biggest misses that we make as men is we don't know how to validate someone's emotional state. So like here, I'll give you an example of what I used to do and what I do now and what clients used to do and what clients do now. So like if I come home from work and I'm like, hey, Jess, how's everything going? And she's like, oh my God, like today was crazy. Today, and I was like, oh man, well, tell me more. What happened? She's like, oh, like we got a medical bill in the mail. The dishwasher went out. Colton spilled milk and it was in a glass. It was in a glass and it shattered all over the floor. And then the dog tried to get to it and he cut his paw on one of the pieces of glass. And I had to take him to the vet. And instead of being like starting to solve all those different problems and tamper down those emotions, I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds absolutely horrific. Like I can't even imagine like a day like that. So tell me more. Tell me more what happened. And when I do that, when I say that sounds horrific, that sounds frustrating, right? And then so basically what I'm doing is that's validating her emotional state. Like, oh my gosh, like yeah, why wouldn't you be, right? And then I usually say something along the lines of like I try to normalize it in some way. Like, man, anybody in your position, or if I was in your shoes, holy cow, I would have lost my mind, right? And the tell me more is more of an invite to like keep talking. Come on, like let's hear more. Like, right? The more she is speaking to you, the safer she feels. The more she's speaking and you're just allowing to understand what she's feeling, the more connection you have to her. The more connection you have to her, the more intimacy you build in the relationship. The more intimacy you build, the more like the we call it like more like the stickiness factor, right? Where your connection together is, it feels adhesive, it feels good, it feels solid, it doesn't feel loose or disconnected in a way. And then you just feel like you're shoulder to shoulder, you're together on things, right? You don't necessarily have to solve a thing. All you have to do is listen and talk and look for the emotion that she's feeling. And that's one of the biggest misses. And I know I did this so wrong for so long. I would just be like, well, Jess, that doesn't really sound like that's a bad day. Like I would talk to my wife like this, be like, holy cow, yeah, that's a bad day. I get that. But like, you know what? Let me see the medical bill. We'll take care of that. If the dishwasher went out, like I'll call tomorrow and I'll get the guy over here and we'll get this thing figured out. As far as the glass goes, like and that kind of thing, like we'll make sure that it's all straightened up and make sure there's no scratches on the floor. And I'm sure the dog will be okay. We'll be all right. It's not a big deal. And that would make her feel like kind of terrible, right? It was almost like why are you being such a baby about this in a way? Like that's kind of how she took it. And instead, just listening, it just opens up the door for so much more.
That was beautifully crafted out. Thank you. The more she speaks, the more connection you build. I like that specific line. All you men out there, listen. Take notes. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, so it actually reminded me of a TikTok video. It's actually a really funny video of a girlfriend asking his boyfriend, her husband, what he thinks about her outfit. And then the boyfriend says, should I give a husband answer or the real answer? And they're like polar opposites, polar opposites. So but by the way, I just wanted to say, like for men, fixer mode, I personally think it's wonderful that how God created men differently, like the mindset of a man it's built differently than females, and that's how I think it's complex because we all have like different mindsets and with different approach to different situations. But I just have another. I also, when I was listening to your answer, this thought came to me about the stereotype that females are more emotional. Do you think that this is true?
I do. I do to some degree, but I think that there's some context in there because I think while women, are more emotional at times, I think that they probably have a bit of more emotional IQ than most men, and that's not a dig on men. Men are taught to tamper down their emotions. Men are also taught like, emotions like sadness or anger or overwhelm are bad and you're weak and you're less than. So you shouldn't feel those things. Pull up your pants and be a man, right? That's the thing. And by the way, if you're a man, you feel happy and you feel strong, well, then that's good. And if you don't feel that way, well, then you're less than. Men also, when it comes to relating to other men, we have a hard time relating sometimes in sadness and in grief. Like it's hard for us to sometimes, unless we have a deep connection to another man, a good man, it's hard for us to have those connections. Women, on the other hand, I believe are taught that it's more acceptable in society that women can feel more the plethora of emotions, and there's more permission for that. So if a woman cries, like that's okay. A man cries, and you're like, what a wuss, right? And that's where men like tend to. It's almost like we shove down those emotions so much that it's almost hard for us to even understand our own, right? And when we don't even understand our own, it's hard to be there emotionally, for someone else. So like for instance, when your kid comes to you and they're like erratic about like, oh my God, this has happened at school. And the guy is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, right. What's happening here? Like it's almost uncomfortable for us because it's very uncommon ground for us because we've tampered those emotions for so long. I mean, guys in my generation, I know my stepdad, and for instance, like I grew up with like, quit your crying. Only babies cry. Don't be a baby. And like he would like literally get in my face and point. And like a lot of my friends were raised like that. So we were raised with the belief is sadness is bad. You're a baby. You're weak. Pull up your pants and stop. Women have given more permission, I think, to feel those things and to be okay with it. Plus, when women are around other women, they can relate on emotional level with other women through the plethora of emotions. So they will actually gather and feel happiness and joy and humor and they'll laugh and guys will do that too. But women are also like they will cry and they will feel stressed and depression and like and but it's there's more permission for them to have that. So I just think from a societal standpoint, the message that men have been told from a young age is just that. So it's harder for us to really understand those. So I think we're a little bit behind, but I think it's not necessarily our fault. It's because what society has told us for so long, this is what you do, right? For a woman, it's more like, hey, you have full on permission to feel all of these things. So it's really okay. So I think a woman gets more reps in over time, even through childhood and through the teenage years and through her 20s and even through friends and that kind of thing that, hey, it's really okay for you to feel all these things. In fact, in a way, this is kind of how we as women sort of connect. And guys, it's harder for us in that way because we've been told differently for so long.
And I have to hear that it's actually really sad that females have more permission. And I just want to like, because since a lot of my audience are teachers, And there are a lot of teachers out there that also want to kind of change this system, the educational system. There's a lot of lessons taught in younger primary grades about social emotional learning and EQ, how to label, how to name their emotions. And I just want to tell teachers, primary teachers, all of you are doing a good job. Keep doing what you're doing, and also please accept male emotions. Please let them cry. Like I have a student in grade 6. He is tough. Like he is one of my hardest students, emotional wise, psychological wise. But his English is like best, like really good. But on the like psychological level and on an emotional level, it's really hard to connect with him. And I ask him like questions: How are you feeling? What's making you upset? He doesn't want to talk about it, just one word. So it actually makes me sad. So that's why like a lot of teachers are coming together to talk about these issues, so we can also be a better teacher in our classrooms. So thank you, Larry. So my next video is how do you balance being a businessman, a founder, and a dad at the same time, and a husband, all three. How do you balance all three?
It's boundaries, 100% boundaries. Sometimes I'm good at this, sometimes I'm not, but I'll tell you, this is how you do it. So our podcast is, I mean, I thank God for this. I really, really do. My Lord and Savior, I thank him for this, but like we get almost a 500,000 downloads, per month on the podcast. We have a thriving, community of almost 1,000 men who do life with us on the daily. I have a leadership team of almost 60 people. I've got one-on-one clients, I have group clients, I have everything in between. So it's very, very demanding. And I'll tell you, I share those demands because that is the demand of every guy out there. I don't care if you own your own business or a career or whatever, we're all shouldering a lot. But here's what I'll tell you. We have to be very, very disciplined to our boundaries, right? And I'm even like this with my clients. I'm like, you're not going to hear from me after 5 p.m. Sorry. If you text me, you won't hear from me until the next day. 5 p.m. rolls around, the phone goes down, right? The presence is with my family, non-negotiable whatsoever. But I'll tell you, there's also a lot of fruit that's selfless. I think this will help men as well. If you want to reduce your anxiety, if you want to reduce your own stress, if you want to reduce your own mental load, create those boundaries. They're really, really hard. I wake up every morning and I've got DMs in Instagram, Facebook, text message, emails, Slack, everything. It's all there, right? Whether I'm answering it after 5 p.m. or the next morning, it really doesn't matter. But what taxes me over time is like those long, long, crazy, crazy hours. And I used to grind and I used to work, 10, 12 hours a day. But then I noticed I had zero energy for my family. So it's like, why do this mission, or why even go to a job if I have zero energy for my family? So boundaries are they're hard to live by, but you have to do it. So create your own boundaries. Mine is non-negotiable. 5 p.m. You contact me or whatever else. You're not hearing from me until the next day, period. Right. That is all about my family. I think that's the short answer really. Is it's just you've got to operate your life in containers and boundaries. Like with this podcast, like with you, there's nothing else in the world that's happening right now. I am focused 100% on you. I've been pinged several times, text and emails, and I can hear them coming through. I'm not going to go check them. It's all about me and you, and that's the way it's got to be.
Thank you. Boundaries. I love boundaries. Personally, I love boundaries, and it's been something that like also a lot of my friends we've been talking about and how to maintain it and stand our ground. But my as we come to the end of this episode, I have one last question. What is
Gotcha.
your advice to parents who want to improve their relationship with their children?
So I'm a big one on this. Here's a quote. A lot of parents, and this is not the quote yet, a lot of parents want to have influence over their kids, right? They want their kids to do things that they ask them to do. They want them when they're at a party to not drink and drive, right? They want their kids to talk to them. This is a big one. I want my kids to tell me everything. I want them to open up. I want them to do this. Here's the quote. Without connection, you don't have any influence. Without connection, you don't have any influence. What we usually try to do is we try to be the disciplinarian, or we try to get them to talk to us about something that's personal and deep, or we try to get them to do whatever it is we want them to do, but we have no connection to them. So in our house, we're big on psychological safety. So here's what we say to my 4 boys. You can come and talk to us about anything, anything at all. In fact, well, this is what I'll tell you, your honesty and ownership for whatever situation that you went through, whether you were dishonest, you did something wrong, you did something horrible or whatever, your honesty and ownership, when you come and tell us, is celebrated and not punished. So when my kids come and talk to me about something, maybe they did something wrong, and I could give you a laundry list. We don't have time for that. But what I say to them is, I'm like, oh man, that took a lot of courage for you to tell me that. I really appreciate that. Tell me more about that. What's going on, man? And then they'll just talk, and I'll use those skills of validation. Now, that's not to say that we have a consequence-free home, but we do not add corporal punishment for wrongdoing in our house, but we will add the natural consequences that go along with whatever thing that they've done, right? Now, if they lie or do something deceitful or something like that, that's a bit of a different story. But anytime your child comes and talks to you about something, it's always celebrated. So there's one question that I'll leave you with. Okay. If you really want to get a daily rep in with this, I ask my kids 3 questions every day. Number one, what was the best part of your day? Tell me what happened. That gets your kid into gratitude and it gets you connected to them and they're excited to tell you something. The next question is the hard one, but this is the one where your kids will open up and tell you everything rep after rep. What was the most challenging thing that happened to you today? Or what's something you failed at today and what'd you learn? When they answer that question, I'm like, oh man, that must have been tough for you to tell me. So tell me more about that. And then we'll go look at the lessons. Like, hey, if you had to do this lesson, or if you had to do this thing over again, what would you do different? And then they get this problem solve. They get to quote unquote lecture themselves, and I don't have to. And then I get to praise them like, dude, that's a great lesson. Like, that's a great idea. Like, I'm glad you came up with that. But it's really getting them to talk more and you less, right? And then praising them for that. So that's how you do it.
Thank you. Thank you again for coming on our show. Happy Father's Day to all of the wonderful, amazing fathers out there. Goodbye till our next video.